This is Patrick Stat Spore, and you're listening to Space Boy Universe.
32 minutes, 21 seconds. 5-second tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to Space Boy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to Space Boy Universe, featuring Space Boy and the lovely Solana. So strap in and prepare for launch sequence.
Greetings and salutations, I'm Space Boy, and this is Space Boy Universe, and across from me, as always, a lovely Solana, and we'll bring her in just a minute. As always, you can follow us on Twitter, that's at the SBU Universe. Follow Solana at Solana. Follow me, Space Boy, at Space Boy Music, and of course, follow the network that brings you all this fine program, and that's at the SBU Network. Want to hang out with those space cadets? You can do so by going to spaceboyuniverse.com. Click on the dance and chat bubble, and that'll get you in the cool kid with all the cool kids. And of course, as I digress, you can tweet. You can hashtag your tweets tonight. Man, I was on a roll until I hit a pothole. Remember to hashtag your tweets tonight with hashtag SB Universe and hashtag Space Cadets. You know, in addition to Twitter, you can find the universe on Facebook, Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube. Just look for the spaceboyuniverse.com, and that will get you in with all the cool sites that you can listen to us on. You know, cool sites. And of course, speaking of YouTube, you can find more than the Space Boy Universe of archive of shows. Yes, I'm about to hit puberty. And there is video content from Spaceboy Music, video interviews, 2-Bit Gamers, and of course, coming up, man, this is the time to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that is Comic Palooza. Please don't wet your pants over there so long. And, can't catch a show live? No problem. Take the SBU on the go with you via Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, and of course, iHeartMedia. Yeah, we're on iHeartMedia. Can you believe that? Just look for Space Boy Universe. Of course, it wouldn't be a show without the laughter and the angst of my co-host here, and that is Solana. How are you, Solana?
Well, I'm really great now. Thank you for that. I needed that.
Well, I'm glad I could.
It's a show.
I don't know where that came from.
You're really kind of off your game tonight.
I am. I'm tired. Well, okay, I'm just really burning the candle on both ends. I'm trying to keep everything organized in my mind for Comic Palooza. I'm trying to stay structured.
Yeah. We had to do a physical activity today. It almost killed us.
Which is sort of, but not related to Comic Palooza.
We assembled a very small twin-size bed frame. It could have not been simpler, but it whooped us both.
It was a challenge.
I was covered in sweat. And I hardly did anything.
Yeah, I think it was just you having a panic attack from.
I was. Anytime you and I have to put together something physical, it's nerve-wracking, and lawyers have to get called, and there's to be interventions, and so.
But so I'm just trying to compartmentalize my day job, then the universe job, and then I've gotten so close that probably by next week, believe it or not, the new Space Boy album will be out there. The end of the beginning.
But you're on top of things, though. I have to give you credit. I mean, we're more organized this time around for stuff than last year.
But what cost has it been? Have you noticed that I'm a little...
Yeah, there's been some anxiety around it, though, but that's mostly my fault.
I'm worn down, and I'm sore, I'm hurting. So,
because of putting together that bed?
Well, no, beyond that bed, that hurts too. I've got the bursitis in my shoulder.
Oh, okay.
And, among other things that have wear me down. And it's just, hard keeping it together. But, I think everybody wants to succeed in whatever they do. I mean, I guess you know me so well, more than most people, that I'm driven when I'm focused on a task.
You're driven and you're focused, but it comes out as really annoying.
OCD, slightly.
That part is so freaking annoying.
I repeat myself many times, and it's not that I'm
We do have a lot of stuff to organize and finish up but I will say, when we do make it to Comic Palooza, our booth is going to be pretty swank.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so a lot of stuff has come in for our booth, and we're getting it all organized, and we haven't even started on multimedia things related to.
Man, we've got to get on it.
And it's a month and a half, a little more than a month and a half to go, but still, if we're not on top of that stuff,
right? And so I've pretty much decided that all my Saturdays are screwed from here till after it's over.
I mean, you did get in a little nap today.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you were sleeping.
Yeah, I know you know we're sleeping, so.
So, Sirlana, last week we were telling our audience that we were going to go see the movie Ready Player One.
Which we did.
Uh-huh. And your thoughts?
Well, like I said, I didn't have anything invested in that. I had not read the book or listened to the audiobook like you had. Mm-hmm. I was just like, hey, it's something to do, something different, getting out of the house.
First off, why do you say it like it's a bad thing that I listen to an audiobook?
No, I'm saying you have. You know it already. And I think you really enjoyed it. So I was like, okay, fair enough. I'll go see a movie. Why not? But I enjoyed it because it was like your typical 80s feel-good Steven Spielberg movie that has heart and had a feel-good message.
The underdogs come out on top, the kind of thing.
It had a retro feeling. For all that it was set in the future, the feeling of it was very retro. Steven Spielberg, very kind of E.T., that had a good feeling to it. And
when we came out of the theater, you asked me, what did you think? And
and that annoyed me too. You're like, eh.
I mean, I did give it an A-. No, I promise, Snarky, no spoilers. But it was a good movie. I gave it an A-. That's a pretty dang good.
Well, not knowing anything beyond the trailer, the things, and it's things you had told me after you'd listened to it. It's like they took my childhood and rolled it up and put it into a movie. And of course, as you would suspect, this thing is dense with Easter eggs and references. And probably the one that most stands out is more than one Back to the Future reference. Because, of course, Spielberg was producer of Back to the Future. So naturally, he's got easy access to those properties.
At the end of the day, it's a love letter to
the 80s.
I guess the 80s, and probably people of our generation, Gen Xers, who lived through that time and period, and the love of video games. And
we can mention two things that now you can get online and find all kind of spoilers, and you can find lists and videos about the Easter eggs and references. Now, but there's two of them that I have yet to hear about, and I don't think it's going to spoil anything if you hear this. Inside of the Oasis, which is the virtual reality, they're saying the place to go to get your coins is Planet Doom, Doom. And I'm wondering if they named that after the game Doom, because Doom was such a big freaking deal when it came out.
And that
they don't ever say that's what it was.
But it looks pretty heavy as far as the battle on that planet.
Yeah, it's a battle planet. I don't know what what you battle there. They didn't really get into that, but
I guess it's an easy way to make coins.
Yeah, and level up.
Level up, exactly.
So And the other thing that you pointed out that I have not read anywhere yet, maybe it is out there somewhere, is the villain's name was Nolan Sorrento? Something like that? And you're wondering if the Nolan comes from Nolan Bushnell, the founder of Atari and Chuck E. Cheese Showbiz Pizza.
Yes, that's what I started thinking of. That
was maybe not as an obvious Easter egg, but maybe that was his. But that's the two that I have not discovered yet. No one's talked about.
Well, there's a ton of just things to see in this movie, and it's designed so that you go back and you see it again and again.
Yeah, there's one I can't talk about because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. And I was really, because they didn't show it in any of the trailers, which I was very glad, because it just sort of like, whoa, where's this coming from? And it was kind of cool because it was part of the clues in the game. And
as I told you, it
harkens back to another movie. Let's just put it that way.
When I listened to the audiobook and I'm comparing it to the movie, I could see why they had to make changes to fit for the screen. But I think that it doesn't detract from me from what I've heard of the audiobook and what I saw on the screen, because both were equally pleasing. And I guess the question is, why did I give it an A-? I don't know.
I guess the book's always better.
The book was better in this situation.
Books will always be better.
So that was the only thing that I could come down to, that basically, I felt like it got an A-, versus just an A, or, I have never, that I can think of, given a movie an A+ other than maybe Aliens. And, that was...
Was that not also based on books that came first, or did the books come after?
I don't think they were. The books came after.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's been some really good books afterwards.
The reason books are always better than film is because books do not have budget limits. Books don't have, we can only hire so many people for these CGI effects because it's happening in your brain.
And like I said before, Solana, is that more than likely we'll buy this movie, and with our big screen,
we'll pause it,
look at everything, and all the references and stuff. But
this is not the first movie that looks at the subject matter of, well, we need a virtual world to go into to escape the depression and crappiness of real life. So there was an ultimate message about that type of thing toward the end of the movie. Now, again, we don't really want to spoil it for you, but just keep on the lookout for that. But speaking of, so it's possible that VR and AI are here to stay. Let me give you an example of something that's a little bit disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a wearable device that can respond to your thoughts. It is called Alter Ego. It can recognize nonverbal prompts. So that means they mean reading your mind. Now, it loops around your ear and it follows your jawline.
Mm-hmm.
It goes underneath your mouth. Goes to a computer system. So the device has electrodes that pick up neuromuscular signals from your jaw and your face that are triggered by, listen to this, internal vocalizations. So when you're talking to yourself in your head, but you're not actually saying anything. Nobody, like if somebody looks at you, you're talking, but nobody sees it.
Mm-hmm. So
signals are given to a machine that learns and analyzes that data, associating with specific signals and words. I don't like this. They could have a computing platform that's more internal, that melds a human and machines in ways that feel like internal extension of our own cognition. That's what they're hoping for now. What I thought was interesting, and I hope this isn't a spoiler, is in that movie we saw, they had in the concept of haptics has been around for a while, where it's some kind of physical device you wear to recreate physical sensations in a virtual world. Like they would wear a haptic suit. If you got enough coin, you could buy yourself one. And so if you got punched in the VR, you could feel it, really, know. And there was a moment where there was like, whoa, whoa, but they're saying the system can communicate with the user through a pair of bone conducting headphones, because your bones can conduct vibrations or something.
Well, in fact, there was an experiment that had at the museum, this Museum of Science, and where it was a snake museum part, and a Museum of Science and Nature, something to that effect.
Museum of Science and Snakes.
Yeah, well, it had this metal thing that you put your forehead against, and supposedly you could hear like a little music playing, and that was supposed to show you how snakes can hear. And so it's fascinating. So, the skull, even though you might, you can put your fingers into your ear, you still pick up vibrations.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, your skull would resonate. I mean, if you have hearing, that is. If you're deaf, then you're not going to hear.
They're saying
you could feel the vibration still.
Well, these headphones can convey information without interrupting your conversation or hearing. They've already tested it. Said the device is quite clever, but it's limited. It has a 92% accuracy with only 20 words. They think they'll achieve full conversation someday. They had to figure out the locations on the face that are most reliable in the neuromuscular signals. They asked their subjects to sub-vocalize the same series of words 4 times. They're hoping future applications of this device could be as varied as helping people who have disabilities to begin to use high noise environments like the flight deck of an aircraft carrier. Yeah, that sounds pretty benign. I always think the worst.
Well, it's healthy to think the worst and hope for the best,
So Facebook's trying to get on this whole Player One world. Good old Facebook. They're putting augmented reality experiences on Ready Player One posters. They are adding an augmented reality feature called target tracking, yay, which lets people launch AR experiences by pointing their phone at an image. And it's in beta. So it's animated experiences from the posters for Ready Player One and A Wrinkle in Time. So if you scan the code, you'll get this feature that's similar to living pictures made by high-tech novelty printers. Whatever that means. I think it's kind of not perfected right now. So animations are to stay in place even if someone walks in front of the poster. Somebody's already calling us, babe.
Well, they will have to wait until the bottom of the hour because it's a little too early.
All right. So, but again, I think this is Facebook trying to stay relevant and up on things.
Well, speaking of Facebook, I'm glad you brought up that subject because the big Cambridge Analytica thing where basically Facebook data was shared with them. Well, if you want to know if you're on that list, you'll know this Monday. So I guess what it is that Facebook will, share that information to you now. And other related news with that, there's nothing worse to find out that your data has been stolen. And so, also what's going to happen is that there's a good possibility that this will open a litigation case, if you will. And they're already talking about people being rewarded money depending on how severe the data loss is.
I don't see us getting money because it's just going to be too much.
Well, they said anywhere from $700 to $1,700.
They'll find a way to keep it.
$17,000, I mean.
They'll find a way to keep it.
Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, it's not going to end good for Facebook right now. Even Zuckerberg has already admitted that, hey, I'm the guy that created all this, so the buck stops with me. So, it'll be interesting to see. He sounds like an evil despot, doesn't he? Well, a lot of people say that Amazon's Jeff Bezos is the one that is like Dr. Evil right now. But
I haven't heard a word about him.
Oh, well, he's busy gobbling up new companies and stuff. But anyway, that's what's out there right now. And it's Facebook users could be entitled to $17,500 in damages after data breach. And I guess we're just going to have to see. So starting Monday, if you're on Facebook, you should be getting a message of some kind that will let you know that your data has been hacked. So it all starts there.
That's why I don't put anything of any interest on Facebook.
Yeah, except for cat pictures or our cat.
Oh no, our cat pictures have been breached. What will we do?
Well, still, I just don't like the idea of my data or conversations that we've had through Messenger, or
I'm sure those are just actually hilarious more than anything.
I guess we'll find out, won't we? Mm-hmm. What else you got on the table for?
Just stand by, because on the 24th of this month, Spotify is going to make an announcement. No one knows what it is.
Okay.
Just stand by. They have no clues. There's been no hints. Now, we know they have been testing voice controls for his app, which I think would be great, except when it comes to voice controls with apps, there needs to be somebody out there doing better research for people who have thick Southern accents, so these voice recognition apps can recognize what we're saying.
You have an accent?
Yes. And stupid apps like Siri do not recognize me.
All fairness, since I upgraded my phone, my Siri does not recognize me or has a hard time. It's like they switch British. I will admit, I have a British lady that is my Siri, not the American version. And, the one I had before this upgraded version has a hard time understanding me and is very frustrating. So, I guess I'm looking forward to doing something about it in the near future.
Just like to give a quick shout out to Marcy, who's just showed up in chat.
Hey, Marcy, how are you, dear? Hope you're doing all right today. Still need to continue our conversation that we had the other day. Looks like we have a new Space Cadet in there. Wyatt, welcome to the community. It's good to see you. Always great to see new people in the chat room. If I don't tell Kay hello, he'll break down. So hello, K28. It's always good to see you too. I hope the trains are running on time. So what else you got over there, Solana?
Well, I don't want to get too far into this. I don't want there to be, violence to erupt in chat or anywhere else, but it's to be tacked on with other things we've talked about. We have talked about in the past and on this show the great adpocalypse of YouTube and the demonetization of videos where people were making a living being successful content creators, having YouTube channels, having content where it was so good, they had so many subscribers, they could monetize their videos, meaning they could put ads on it and make revenue from the ads. Well, the adpocalypse happened, and people who were making money suddenly lost it because they got their advertisement yanked because these new policies came out and they got really strict with it. Well, we witnessed the fallout due to Logan Paul, and before that PewDiePie, who's sitting back just sort of laughing about the whole thing. Now, unfortunately, there has been terrible consequences. Now, the person responsible for this could have been mentally imbalanced, but she may have been pushed to the edge. She was also one of these content creators who I think was making money off of her videos, and then she got dinged by the great adpocalypse, and she decided to go shoot up the YouTube headquarters.
Now, in all fairness, let's state this, that there were a lot of people that felt that she was sick. Some people are saying because of her odd videos. I'm not going to go out there because there's people that do odd videos. There's
something for everyone.
There's something for everyone when it comes to YouTube. Mm-hmm. But, her father felt like she was angry and was going to go do this and call the cops. But, when they found her, she was in her car, cool as a cucumber, and there was nothing they can do at that time, So, but unfortunately, she ended up shooting up that building. And we're not saying that because of the adpocalypse, this person went out there and shot, although I guess that's what we are kind of saying. I guess the conversation that Solana and I had earlier about this was that, when you're making some money and that money gets taken away from you and you don't have a source of income, that puts you in a pretty hard place, a rock and a hard place. This woman could have easily have been having a mental issue before, and
it's hard to know.
It's hard to know because we're not in her headspace or been in that situation as far as her situation around in that to know her firsthand. But it's hard to not go notice that this young woman lost her crap when she was affected and feels like she was, I guess, censored. And she made a good point in the sense that she would do her own exercise videos, and they gigged her for inappropriate, I guess, video for exercising. And when you look at YouTube, it's kind of hypocritical because there are people out there.
It's a matter of what you find first, I think.
There are people that you find out there that are doing exercise videos that have maybe less clothing on, who look more provocative. And then you look at maybe some of the music videos. I never thought I'd see the day where I would be an old man and I'd say, look at that woman. She doesn't have any clothes on, and she looks very provocative. And so things like that made her mad because it was like, well, look at what they're doing, and you're gigging me, and I got a full suit on, like a cat suit kind of thing on, The
one I saw where she was showing some kind of provocative, low cut, very cleavage revealing, like it was barely on her, was her trying to make a point. What she did is she pulled that out. It was a fake cleavage, and she was actually covered fine.
Right.
But she was trying to make a point, and I think that's what she got dinged on.
Right. So these
context.
These things can compile and overburden, the average user of YouTube who just wants to go out there, make some really cool videos, and yet because of the adpocalypse, it makes it difficult for somebody to even start doing it.
Well, then you get somebody like Logan Paul, who's just a little wingnut to begin with. He's kind of, like you said, stupid. He goes and does what he does, and he gets himself demonetized, and then he gets suspended for a little while, and then he gets taken off YouTube Red, blah, 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 blah. Then the only thing he's surviving on is his merchandise sales. Well, then he goes and creates a clothing line called Maverick, not bothering to check that there's already another clothing line out there called Maverick. So he gets shut down, I guess, for copyright infringement because his stink is ruining that other company because they think they're the same thing. Right. So now he can't sell his own merchandise anymore. So, I mean, I ain't going to cry for Logan Paul. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen.
Well, at the end of the day, people like Logan really hurt small creator users. And I will say the universe gets hurt in that sense because, we put out a lot of content for YouTube, and we're not making any money off of that.
No. But we don't have it monetized either.
Well, no, we'll talk more about that later. But we do make attempts to make money off of YouTube. But, unless they set the bar and then you try to reach it and then they set the bar further again, and then, well, it's just the nature of the business, We
can talk more about it at a different time.
Okay.
There's more to say, but
speaking of time, Solana, let's take the break and let's see if we can get Uncle Brent on the phone. And so
he's in the chat.
So don't go anywhere. Here we go.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sirlana.
This is author Jordan Root. You are listening to the Space Boy Universe.
This is K28, and I'm listening to Space Boy Universe.
Hi, y'all. This is Lori calling from Texas, and I love listening to Space Boy Universe.
Hey, this is Dave Cruz, host of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to Space Boy Universe.
This is Wendy. I'm listening to Space Boy Universe. Hey, y'all. This is Lorelai DeLille. I listen to Space Boy Universe. Don't you? Tell your mom and them I said hi.
You are listening to Space Boy Universe. Here are your hosts, Space Boy and Sir Ronnie.
Uncle Brent and the Nostone are bringing Americana-Rock to the stage, capable of pumping out hours of versatile rhythms and good old times. Uncle Brent's imaginative songwriting takes a wild sound with an addition to the Nostone, providing an authentic freedom of expression in the music that can only come from genuine love of the craft and true desire to entertain. With the dynamic sets of songs containing original and cover tunes, Uncle Brent and Nostone is playing gigs on the regular throughout the Austin music scene and beyond, bringing fun, talented musicianship and songwriting that sincerely connects right back to the spotlight where it belongs. Please welcome my longtime friend, Uncle Brent. How are you, Uncle Brent?
I am doing excellent. It is so good to hear from you, man. I feel like a long-lost family member.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, for our audience, Uncle Brent is not my uncle. That is his stage name, like I'm Space Boy. I've known Uncle Brent, we've known each other since high school, going back to the late 80s. And that's how we first met in Bandera, Texas.
We all had hair. Jimmy was wearing spandex. Space Boy was wearing spandex. It was a great time.
Now, you definitely back then had the hair going on.
I did have some, way more than I do now.
Oh, we're all in that same boat, my friend. So, let's catch up a little bit. Bandera and, late 80s, early 90s, I guess, when did your love of music start? I mean, I remember coming over to your house and hanging out with you and your sister, and y'all had that piano in the living room, and but beyond that, tell me more about when did the music start for you?
Probably like most musicians, you have people, in your family that are musical, or at least one. And so for me, it just kind of started when I was a little kid. I'd just walk around the house singing. My mom played piano for the church and stuff like that. And she always listened to this Christian music where the dudes would have like this incredible vibrato.
Mm-hmm.
And so it drove me crazy as a kid because I had never heard anyone outside of Baptist churches sing that way. So I'd walk around the house and going, "He lives," as a 4-year-old. So that's kind of where it started, just kind of giving my mom a hard time because she listened to dudes that sounded funny.
So when did you pick up your first musical instrument? I'm assuming it's the guitar, right?
Actually, my first musical instrument was the tuba.
Really? That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I did not know that about you.
No. You don't call, you don't write.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, I send my Christmas cards, "Dear Jimmy in Carolina, this is what I'm doing." I had another child this year.
Well, congratulations.
But, I started out playing tuba. I wanted to play drums, but my parents decided that tuba mouthpiece was so much less expensive than to buy a drum kit, and quieter, too.
My reasoning for playing tuba was so that people could see me.
Yeah. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Did we lose you?
Okay.
Okay, good.
So you did it so people could see you?
Yeah, because I was in marching band, and I wanted people to recognize me and stand out when we were doing marching band, and so I
who's that dork with a tuba?
I picked. Well, I started playing tuba in early middle school, and
you know what? He was one of many dorks with a tuba. He was not alone.
But I kept with the tuba for the simple fact that when I was doing marching band, that I stood out like a sore thumb, and then people, hey, there's Space Boy right there, and so that was my excuse. But what was your excuse? Just because of the drums were more expensive than having to play the tuba?
I know it didn't look it when we were kids, but I was really musically driven. I really started writing songs when I was probably about 6 years old. I was walking to school my second year of first grade, and I started, writing songs on that walk because I did not like school. And that was kind of, I didn't know they were songs. It would just be, I'd sing to the birds, Mm-hmm. I didn't dance because I didn't have much rhythm. But, I'd write these little songs to school, and then when we got the opportunity in school, I think it was 5th grade, I took a chance and played the tuba. And it was just a way for me to be in touch with music and do something musical that away from my parents, away from other people. It was just a way for me to be creative, because when I played tuba, I played the part that was given to me, but then my instructor, our band teacher, allowed me to modify the tuba parts within the songs, which really, now looking back, is a big surprise, because I would just add parts,
Mm-hmm.
It would be a soft part, and the flutes and clarinets would be playing, and all of a sudden you hear this bum 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 bum, and he let me do it. I mean, in live concerts and stuff. I think he's crazy now, but back then it was pretty cool to be able to write your own part, and everyone else had to play the part that was given to him. I
don't think that's too far-fetched, Uncle Brent, because, before my life of Bandera, I auditioned. I was in elementary, I played violin, and I got transferred to a school that didn't offer orchestra, and there was band, and so they had a bass guitar part, but it was only one bass guitar. And the frustrating part was, okay, there's already one guy doing this, and yada yada yada. So I went to the instructor, kind of told him how I felt, and I still got to do backup on the bass. But the cool thing was that he said, here's a trombone, try it out, come back, audition, and we'll see what we can do. Well, 2 days later I came back and auditioned. He was so impressed. He said, well, let me see you work with the tuba. And he gave me a tuba. A few more days later, I was playing that. By the end of the 6 weeks, what I was set up to do is that if somebody couldn't play a part on an instrument, then I would go ahead and fill in for him, or I would take over that part. And he had a little section put out for me where I had several instruments where I could just pick up, depending on the part, and play that. So, it's kind of like... I bring that story up, but going back further in the past when I was playing violin, I tried cello, bass, and I also had an instructor that kind of let me roam free, if you will, and to experiment and to do my own thing. And I guess what I'm getting at here is that it sounds like your instructor saw your passion for your music.
Mentors.
Yeah, you had a good mentor when it came to your music instructor to allow you to grow and find your way through your musical journey. Yeah,
he was very helpful. I can agree with you on that. The thing is, I think the thing that's incredible is if people don't know you, Space Boy, mm-hmm. you are like one of the most talented musicians I've ever met, and composers. And that's the thing in high school and when we were young that I wish people would have known. People would see you play and go, "Wow, he's good," but you're probably one of the most talented musicians I think I've ever known. And your diversity, in what you can do, is just insane. If I were a hater, I'd probably want to, hurt you. But, I'm not a hater. But your talent, especially when we were kids, was amazing. And I wish that, I don't think you got the respect you deserved as a musician when we were kids. I think now I can see people reacting to you in a positive way because, I'm a stalker. Sirlana has them, I have them. You have me, and all the other bear community. But so I think that I wished you would have gotten that in high school.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and I kind of look at it from the perspective of, I think maybe it was too early.
Were you in high school in Bandera together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It was too early for, I guess, for me to be. It was too early for my destiny, so to speak, if you will. And I loved writing music, as you know. I even wrote a song for, I guess, your sister-in-law many years ago. I could still remember. And it was a different time and fun times back in high school. And I recall that period. And, yeah, it coursed through my blood. And it still does today. So, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around, writing music at that time, but for writing music for over 40 years now and performing it. Yes, Sirlana you better push your eyes back in because she just realized how old I am. But
well, you're writing music, or at least for traditional instruments, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I was writing instruments for orchestra. I was writing instruments for band, rock bands, and stuff like that, and putting them on cassette tapes. My ideas, and mostly doing the music part. I've never been a big fan of writing lyrics. That's always, I will freely admit, that's always been kind of my weak spot. But it's never stopped. It's never stopped me musically to try to create original, unique pieces for the masses. And, something that I've done most recently that I think that, it's not that I don't want to make money off my music, but all the music that I post to my site now is free. And I tell people that if you want it, download it, play it, share it. The only thing I ask is that don't make money off my music. If you want to commission my music, then great. We can work on something like that for commercial use and stuff. But for the most part, my music is for the masses. And I think it's a great way to get that music out there because it's kind of opened other doors for me. Like I'm writing music for a TV show right now. And that's really cool. And I'm looking forward to putting that on my resume. But, things like that. But I don't want this show to be about me, Brent, and because
I would say we need to bring this back.
So I'm trying to walk this back because Sirlana's got the gun.
I want to know how to go from being this, inspired person making music to getting to where he's making music and performing it.
Mm-hmm. So there's your next springboard to go from there.
So how did I become a performer?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was in the marching band. Hello. Actually, being in marching band did not fulfill all the voids in my life. So when I went to college, I at some point I stopped writing and kind of stopped doing music. But then when I got into college, I started engaging with all these musical people. And so it started flowing again, and I started writing again, and I just did it for fun, and I was with a few bands, just as a backup, and then, I had kids and was working 2 jobs, and, going to school, and was married to a horrible person at one point in time, and it just all went away, because, you have to be married to someone really cool to be a musician. My wife Julia right now, she supports me. She allows me time to do what I need to do and spend time practicing, talking about music, working on lyrics, doing social media and stuff like that. You have to have the right support system. Now, that doesn't mean that she doesn't go, oh my God, please do not say anything else music related. So that happens a lot.
I have one emotional scar along those lines, Brent.
My thing with her is that is I come home and I say, okay, we need to talk about Spaceboy Universe, and the gut reaction that she gets from that.
But talking about from the music side, where he's saying his wife doesn't want to hear one more, I'm just going to put a word out there: technosexual.
Yeah, I wrote a song that it played over and over.
He had to keep sampling himself over and over and over and over, and we were still in an apartment, so it's not like I could escape.
But the reality is, Brent, I'm sure you can understand that when you're writing a song, sometimes you'll loop a certain part, and I imagine, when you're to perfect it, to maybe you're working on a lyric and you're trying to find the groove and the feel for it, and to you, it's not boring because you're trying, focused. You're focused and you're trying to perfect it. What would you say on that?
I would say that it was probably like when you first fell in love with Solana. It just totally wraps you up and engages you, and you just can't release it. But, definitely not as important as Solana is. We know she's the guiding light of your life.
He is just full of good crap, isn't he?
He's always been, ever since I remember him from high school.
He has no idea, does he? He's none.
Actually, I think you're right. I get stuck on stuff, and so I have like 35 notebooks around the house which just hold lyrics. And then on my phone, I'll be driving. It's always at the worst time I get an idea, too. It's like I just jumped in the shower. I'm changing a poopy diaper, and the greatest idea ever comes. And then by the time I'm done and I wash my hands, it's bye-bye. So, there's that struggle, too. Mm-hmm. It's real.
Inspiration hits at weird times, huh?
It always hits at weird times. There's never a time where I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna write 12 songs. I have 4 days. It's more like, okay, you've just eaten a bran muffin and you had 2 cups of coffee, and that's when the idea comes.
So you should start drinking coffee.
That would be detrimental to me. But I was going to say, what's inspiring is that you managed to, just like me, you have a day job, and but yet you have this passion that you have a family, you have kids, and you balance it all, and it's great that you're able to do that. And I guess it always comes back to
that is impressive.
A supportive wife that recognizes your endeavors, and and even though you might annoy her at times, at the end of the day, she still loves you, even though she wants to throat punch you.
I love being married to a musician because now that he's got this studio is also the music studio. It's like, I know where he is, I know what he's doing. He's occupied, so I can be doing what I want to do without him bugging me. Plus, I'm going to get some free music eventually, so it's great.
That's funny. Yeah, my wife.
Everybody wins.
Sometimes my wife likes music. It's funny. In the beginning, it was kind of like sexy. Now it's just kind of like, oh my God, not again. But yeah, I think going back to your original question, Solana, I started playing again and writing because I was, in a relationship and I was really miserable, and I got to the point where I was depressed, and I couldn't talk to this person, so I started writing again. And I found out that it started healing me. Because for me, I'm pretty much all music. I think about a lot of things, but like 150% of my thought is related to music or music-related content. And so that's how I started. And then after that, after I got divorced, then I started going out and playing, trying to play every night, trying to hook up with other musicians, and I'd find people I'd like and try to learn from them. And I, initially when I first started, I was scared to play because I pretty much really was sucky.
Oh yeah?
And I'm not much better now. But I got to the point where I just didn't care, and I just wanted to play and have a good time, and I wanted other people to have a good time, and I wanted to be an encouragement to other people, because if I can get up there and sing and play, it pretty much shows that anyone can get up there and do it.
And that comes through in what your music that I've listened to. You sound like, you got good old hometown. It's kind of like with comfort food. I relate it to comfort food. It's like sticks to your rib. Your kind of music, like it's a hearty meal. I like it. It just kind of feel good type of stuff.
So you're saying I'm fat? I make people fat? That's not nice.
Well, I have seen the pictures.
I am. Hey, I put on a few pounds. Thanks for bringing that out, too.
It just makes you more huggable, that's how I look at it.
We got no room to talk. Don't worry about it.
I can only say that I'm close to my high school weight, so,
I'm close to Godzilla's high school weight.
Well, it would make me feel good if only my kids could reach their arms around me. Instead, I have 4, so they have to all get together and hold hands.
Well, there you go, a family circle. So you mentioned your wife, and I noticed that she plays. Doesn't she play in the band with you? I mean, she plays bass, doesn't she?
Well, she was playing bass in the band, and it was really great because I had my 2 greatest loves together.
Aww.
It was like the ultimate buffet, the ultimate Chinese buffet.
We met at a Chinese buffet, Brent.
Oh, I so know. I've listened to the tapes.
This guy's good. He did his homework.
So having her in the band was a great thing, because I love music and I love her. And but unfortunately, I got her pregnant, and she was like, I'm going to take care of the baby because this isn't Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure where you can strap a child on the back and play guitar.
You could, though.
So she retired. She put up her bass playing fingers, and she's taking care of Mabel while I'm out there spreading the good word of Uncle Brent the Nostone.
Oh, that's great that she was supportive, and it goes to show you that when you have somebody that you're married to that is supportive, like Sirlana in my case, is that she's behind the mic, and even though she may make her comments, it's nice doing this program with her. And of course, there's been many times.
Still looking for a way out.
Yeah, she says there's looking for a way out, and I can't
find him another co-host.
I can't imagine another co-host other than Sirlana because the dynamic between us.
That's just because we're married.
Is real. It's pure. It's at the end of the episode,
pure man.
I may say to the moon, Alice, but we still love each other.
Yeah,
so
like you get away with that.
Hey, we're at the top of the hour, Uncle Brent. So sit back. The break is about a few minutes. So if you need to step away for a drink or something, you can do that. So here we go to the break. We'll be right back. More with Uncle Brent.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sirlana.
Hey, Sirlana!
What?
If Spaceboy Universe was cheese, would you eat it? Come on now, it's a simple question.
Maybe.
SpaceboyUniverse.com.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Ron.
All right, Solana. Yeah, during the break, people were asking about the music. The main music out of that break was the song Jesse James. And as always, go to spaceboymusic.com and get you some music, and that is where you can find it. So we're back, and we're talking with Uncle Brent of Nostone Music, and we're just going down memory lane here, and it's always an interesting conversation, to say the least. So when we last left, I guess we were talking about the importance of having a significant other that's supportive. And did we lose you? Are you still there?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry.
We were talking about having a very supportive family unit that supports your endeavors and
tolerates it.
Yeah, well, yeah, you tolerate it. I think every morning you look at me and you're ready to just snap my neck off or something like that.
No, only at 7:30 on a Saturday morning. That's just not right.
Well, unavoidable these days. But so I guess let's progress. You have this love of music, and you obviously have a foundation of playing musical instruments. So what? And you have a knack for being a creative lyricist too. So at what point, Brent, did you actually start to form the group and get that together?
It was probably the initial idea, because it wasn't the band. The band kind of came from my musical influences. And I can't remember, exactly when it happened, but I was driving to work one day, and I worked a swing shift, and I was listening to the radio, and a band called The Refreshments came on.
Oh, yeah.
And they have... Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, go ahead.
She was agreeing with you.
I was listening to The Refreshments, and it came on, and I'd never heard them before. They're a band out of the Tempe, Arizona area, and they kind of came out about 94 to 97. And I'd heard their song called Banditos. And the main hook of that core of that song is, everybody knows that the world
I love that
is
song.
People. So meet me at the Mission at midnight. We'll divvy up there. So I heard that, and it was like, I almost wrecked the car, because I was like, oh my God, that's so profound. I need to write that kind of music. Because I was not at a good, what you would call a good place at that point in time. So things like that I gravitated to. And at that point when I heard that, I was like, okay, I need to write songs like this. And I had also actually started writing at that point in time, and it was a little darker, and it more ironical than it had been in the past. Like when I was 6, the content changed,
Mm-hmm.
6, it was, pull my finger jokes and stuff like that were in the lyrics. And now it's talking about people and how we live and how we treat each other, and talking about philosophy and stuff like that. So that's kind of where the idea of Uncle Brent and the Nostone started. But at that point in time, I was still really insecure about what I was doing, so I didn't want to say Uncle Brent. I just called it Nostone Music. And then I met a percussionist named Emilio, and he played conga, I played acoustic guitar, so we started getting together and practicing, and it just kind of built from there. And as we were kind of like a Venus flytrap, if a musician lands in our leaves, we are going to get you.
Oh, yeah?
We're going to snag you. There's no escape. You will be assimilated. So that's kind of how it happened. But it was probably about 2006, 2007 that the whole Nostone thing started coming out to what we have now, which is a gigantic mess sometimes, but fun.
I like that origin story.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you find, over the course of years, I know you just said that you were kind of at a bad time right when you, I guess, came across the refreshments. But have you found that out of pain came some of maybe your better lyrics, or was there just, like, for example, when I hear, when I'm happy, it's a different kind of style. When I'm sad, it's a different kind of style. When I'm angry, it could be edgy. What do you think on that?
I think you're right. I think out of darkness and hopelessness comes a lot of creativity. Not all of it's positive, but I was hopeless, and so I was trying to crawl out of the pit I was in. And so then my lyrics started talking about where I was at. Can I get out? Should I get out? How can I get out? Things like that, So I'd write about bad relationships I was in and how ridiculous it was that I was in them. Or, I have an oldest child that I ended up not seeing for an extended time period. And that was hard on me. And a song, one of my best songs came from that. And that song's called The Best of Me, which is the one with the anime video based off the Afterlife series, the After Story series. Mm-hmm. I don't know if y'all are geeks like that and watch anime and stuff. But
we're nerds.
But that's that came from me basically losing my child, and not losing him to death, but losing the fact that the relationship with him, and me coming to terms with that and being okay that he was one of the best things that ever happened to me, and knowing that I was fortunate to get to experience that for the time that I did. And that song was hard to write, and on top of it, it was really hard to play for the longest time. Because when I first wrote it, I'm a man, so I don't cry, ever. But that song, I'd make me get a tear in my eye. And then I'd poke my eye with a fork and everything would be okay. And so I kind of hope that answers your question. Yeah, my best writing comes when I'm frustrated, or when I'm upset, or when I'm listening to comedians.
Interesting. I, like you too, maybe minus the comedian, but when anger has strikes, frustration. I know that when I left my wife and ultimately got divorced from her, but that was a very sad moment in my life. And then, just from about 98 to about 2001 was a very difficult time in my life. And I guess during that time, the only thing that kind of came out of that was my first album. And, it was creative, it was avant-garde, and it was different and of music that I had written before. And I guess it helped me in the healing process. I don't think I cried as much, but I think I turned into a hermit, because I grew my hair down to my mid-back, and I definitely looked the hippie part, So, but I can identify with how music is a great outlet for us to vent instead of hitting out at the world. We project in a different direction. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, I would agree to that. It definitely, getting something out of your head and into the real world allows you to really pull it down and, for lack of better words, scientifically research it, figure it out, and deal with it and put it away, or come to terms with it. There are some things you can never resolve, but you can learn to live with them. And I think that's kind of what you're saying. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, I like to think that my music gives me a steam valve, if you will, to release the pressure that builds up within me. I'm not saying I'm a man that's about to blow or anything, but it's all the good, all the bad, the sadness, the frustration.
I wish I had something like that.
And music does that for me. And, which is kind of funny because, I tell the story that, about 3 years ago, I was ready to stop doing Spaceboy music. And, I guess I just felt like I had run out of steam. And I got hooked into another show, and it inspired me. And not only to inspire me to continue with my music, but to create a show of my own, which has become Spaceboy Universe. So, but yeah, getting back to, that valve, it helps me to really have a happy place to go to, because I think I'm at my happiest when I'm creating music. And it could be the most crappiest music, and it doesn't matter, because I'm creating something that's unique and original. And I like to think that you and I are on the same wavelength here, because, we write music because it's a part of us, and it's a way to express our feelings. And at the same time, it's just such a creative outlet that it's fun. And that's what I love about music.
Yeah, I would agree. It's definitely a way of expressing without having to talk about it, your feelings. So I enjoy that aspect of it.
So, Sherlana's shaking her head over there. What? Did you have a question, Sherlana?
I just found something called 10 questions you should never ask a musician.
Okay.
And I guess I understand.
God, are you sure you want to ask them?
No, it's just some of them are dumb, but why do they have on this list, what are your musical influences? Why is that something you should not ask a musician? That seems legit to me, but...
I'm Matt.
Go ahead,
Go ahead,
Brent. Yeah. Okay. Well, no, you go first, and I'll put my spin
He's the
on
guest.
I'll put my spit and shine on it.
I think it's because if you really know the musician, and I think they're talking about people that are just walking up to them all of a sudden,
mm-hmm.
or if you know the musician, or if you've researched the musician, or if you've listened to the musician, you can hear their influences. Personally, I don't think it's a bad, because most people are like, where the hell did you get that from?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go and explain, well, the Refreshments did this song, and they were talking about fishing and bobbers. And I always wanted to write a song about fishing and bobbers. And so that's how that song came about. Take it away, Space Boy.
On that same thing, I agree with you, is that, I constantly, it gives people a point of view of, okay, where have you been? And oh, okay, I see the parallels. Like, for example, I always tell everybody I'm a big Pet Shop Boys fan. I've always been, since I was a teenager way back when. I've always been a big fan of The Art of Noise. So a lot of my music, like, for example, the music that was played during the break, has elements that have inspired me on that work. And then I guess you get people that do walk up to you and they ask you about your influences, so they can go, oh, yes. And it could be the next musician down the line that you're inspiring, and all they want to know is, okay, how did you do this? Or how did you make that? It's that wanting to recreate a feeling that you've given them and how you were inspired. So I think it's a matter of passing the baton, if you will, to the next generation of musicians.
But I'll be honest with you. No one has ever asked me that question, Sirlana. You're the first, and actually, you didn't even ask me the question. You just, kind of read it off that thing. So.
Well, I just thought it was odd, because if you look up questions to ask musicians, there are a lot of them the same, and then you get, like, what are your influences, is like questions to ask, and then I found this one that says never ask these questions. And some of them are pretty obvious why you wouldn't ask them, because they're stupid. But I guess maybe you're supposed to get, but there's like, who in the heck was Bowie's influence? I mean, how could I tell for someone like that when he was the avant-garde? You know?
He was Bowie.
Actually, it's because you were too young, correct?
Well, see, Bowie was around the 70s. I was born in 72.
See, I totally gave you way out. You know,
there's no hiding the fact I'm about to be old in 2 weeks. So,
well, the thing is that I remember Bowie as a young kid back in the 70s. A little bit before my time as far as musically grasping onto things, but I still remember Bowie. But it wasn't until we meet this late 70s, early 80s that I become enamored with Bowie because I start to appreciate what a musician he is and a showmanship that he provided at his...
Well, if it wasn't for MTV, I wouldn't have known who he was in the 80s.
What's that?
Well, yeah, it's a little brief blip in history.
Reality show programming?
Yeah.
You know what? As far as Bowie goes, I have one thing to say. Zoolander. I thought he was great in that movie.
Well, he was great as Tesla in, I guess, what was it, the musician, or the magician, not the magician, I guess it was. It was the one with...
the Dark Crystal?
No, it was the one where, was it Hugh Jackman was in that too?
Yeah, Hugh Jackman was in it.
It was dueling magicians.
Yes. Now I'm like...
And Tesla found out a way for him to transport himself and cheat.
Yeah, and that's how he gave it to...
I thought Bowie was great when he made an appearance in this dream I had where I was on a date with him at Applebee's, because I don't really care for Bowie one way or another. I don't have any feelings or opinions about him. He just showed up in my dream at Applebee's. It was very sweet and charming, and they gave me the remote to the TV in the store, so it was pretty cool.
Well, Jimmy, don't get alarmed, but Sir Lana's subconscious says otherwise about Mr. Bowie.
That was the craziest thing.
There.
That was the craziest thing.
I think there's something there. I think you need therapy to kind of work that out.
I've never dreamed about him again. That was like the one time.
Well, maybe you got what you needed out of that one dream.
I hope it was chicken tenders. They used to have the best chicken tenders, and then they took them off the menu.
You're funny.
But yeah, David Bowie, you've mentioned the Refreshments.
I love that song because it talks about, now your ID card says you're Captain Jean-Luc Picard. That's my favorite lyric ever.
Yeah, they found a way to bring pop culture in and Mexican words into English music with rock riffs.
There's another group, I think they are Spanish, but I can't think of the name of it now, but it's Spanish rap. It smells like Spanish hip-hop that I really enjoy. Tres Delincuentes. And I think that's the name of the song, too. I really like that one, because you can sort of rap and do it and kind of throw the Spanish words in there. Nobody knows that but me. I some obscure things.
Yeah, I haven't heard of them.
No, I'm probably the only person that knows about and still likes mashups. And I found them in 2000, the year 2000.
Wow.
Yeah. I was there when Napster dropped, and I got it as an EXE file from my brother, and I remember being there at 3 o'clock in the morning getting music. Of course, now I have a job and I can pay for music. It's not a big deal, and I can pay for subscription services. But, man, I was living the dream back in the day, not knowing I was hurting people like you and Spaceboy.
Yeah. Yep. And that changed a lot of things as far as music goes. I remember being a kid, saving up money and saving up to get this album I wanted. I mean, and I'm talking like 6 months.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like $7, but shoot, I lived in Bandera, There's more cattle there than there are people. So, and so, I mean, and I would spend time, like, every time I could go to Hastings or go to a music section of the store, I would be there for hours, because I would have literally $7 and could buy one album and wanted about 50, and so when I purchased an album from a band, I mean,
it better be good.
Foreigner 4 was probably like the first album that I ever purchased that I just was going to die if I didn't get it. And so I purchased that one, and man, it was a tough decision because there was so much out at that point in time. But I got Foreigner 4. And I can't say that they influenced me musically, but getting that album was very important for me. Purchasing music, supporting my boys or my girls, and helping them continue their career was a great deal for me. Even now, there's a bunch of bands in Austin. There's one called the Big Gun Show, and another's called Big State, and they're kind of country rock Americana bands. And I know some of the guys in the bands, and I can get free stuff from them, but I want them to continue making music.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go out and Gunter, who's the Big Gun Show guy, tried to give me a shirt, and I was like, dude, I know how much these cost. And he goes, well, I'm going to give it to you for free because I know you'll wear it and walk around town. And I was like, yeah, well, that's true, I will. And so then I just bought one for my wife. One, because, she looks like a supermodel, and she's going to bring more attention to the band than some bald, overweight, pale man walking around in one of their shirts. So, but you got to support your guys, if you like their music, support them, because I think in some ways music's kind of dying.
Well, and you bring up a good point, because
there's no such thing as a music industry, is there?
Well, I was going to say is that I think there's this divide now between the pop star versus the indie artist, and I'm very supportive of the indie artist because I think that the indie artist is more creative, more artistic, and provides something of more substance than you would get with a pop artist that's out there. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I like Katy Perry, and I like Daft Punk. I like a lot of music out there that's mainstream, but there are some of those mainstream artists that could give a rat's tail about the listener. And I think that's the important part. And I think the listener is starting to move towards more indie-related artists because they're more real, they're more down to earth. And I think as a musician, I find you in that same category. You're very down to earth. Sure, you got jokes, but I think we all have jokes. And but at the end of the day, you're real, and I think that's what people want. They want somebody that they can relate to and listen to their creative outlet and have a good time and not have to think that, okay, you're just a part of the 1%ers up there that are just out for the money. And sure, I always say money's good, but at the end of the day, I think I get pleasure, and I think you do, out of bringing your music to the masses that you can relate to on a one-to-one basis.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think people these days, or a majority of people, are looking to have a connection, and I think I want to make, the funny part is I want to make connections with people, but it freaks me out when they decide they like us. Because then I don't know what to do. We had this one show at the Carousel Lounge in Austin, and this guy came up and he goes, man, you guys are great. And I was like, were you listening to the same set I was listening to? It was not me. He was like, no, man, you guys were awesome. And I go, thank you so much. I'm going to give you $5 out of the tip jar for saying that. but and the rest of the night, he just kind of hung out with us, and it was cool. But at the same, he helped us put away our gear and stuff. It was just really cool. But at the same time, I'm not going to grow up and be a space boy. Let's just throw that out there right there. I'm not going to be as popular as Space Boy is. I'll be lucky if I can get, find another Tim to come to my show, but it's cool. And and I'm like them too. I'm probably a bigger fan than most people. So when someone comes up to me, I'm kind of like, no, I'm no one. I'm glad you like our stuff, but you know, there are bands playing down the road that are 50 times better than anything I'll ever write. But it's very flattering and really cool to get to meet people that like what you're doing or have the same music interest as you, because then you can talk about the same bands that you like together, even though they like you, and that's really cool. But anyway, that's all I got on that.
Before we take our break, have you met any of your musical idols?
I have actually. I've met a few, and I can't remember off the top of my head because I was not expecting that question, but I have got to meet a few.
Let him think
about it.
it.
You want me to tell you? You want me to tell you now, or you want me to tell you later?
Let's do that after the break, because we're hitting the break, and you're listening to SBU, and our guest tonight is the wonderful Uncle Brent of Nostone Music, and so don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lotta.
The epic battle begins this Friday. Direct from ringside at Laser Death Melt Pit. Bot versus Bot in Galaxy's 2-ton weight championship, where your challenger, Good Bot, will face the reigning champion, Bad Bot. You're terminated. Reserve seating starting at $30. 2-drink minimum, where ladies don't get in free. This is an SBU production. You're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
Sure. Hey, we're back with Uncle Brent from Nostone Music, and before the break, we were going to ask him, did he ever have a chance to meet one or any of his music idols? So go from there.
Well, I did actually. I think I've had the opportunity to meet about 4 of my music idols.
That's pretty cool.
It is, because this whole internet thing really opens up your ability to communicate with different people, and so I really, really love it. And that's how I got in touch with like 3 of them. But I'll go ahead and go into the first one. The first one that I got to meet was Nino Betancourt. And that he is the guitarist for Extreme, so they did Get the Funk Out and More Than Words and stuff like that. So Extreme had broken up, and me and my college roommate went to see his show when he was doing a solo thing, and we just got to meet him. We went out to the bus and talked to him and had a good time, just talked to him for a few minutes, and that was probably the most surreal out of all the meetings I've had, because they were like huge. I mean, people talk about his guitar playing. Like Brian May of Queen talks about his guitar playing and talking about how he's a virtuoso, and then George Lynch talks about his guitar playing, and this dude is a legitimate just rock god on guitar. And so that was really cool to meet him, shake his hand. The other guy I met was from the Refreshments, and he was the bass player, Art Edwards. And so I met him online, and we actually communicate online via email. He's a book writer and lives in Washington now. And so, I'll send him song ideas and get feedback from him, which is really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, the Refreshments. Oh, my God. Sometimes I feel like a little schoolgirl when I'm talking to them. But, and so it was really cool to meet him and hear, it was pretty much just email or on Facebook. But it was just really cool to talk to him because, once again, a lot of my music is kind of in the vein of what he did, in the mid-late 90s with that band. And, he helped write the songs. He did all that stuff. And so when I'm writing a song, it's important for me on some of the songs to get feedback from him, and he'll tell me, I think you might need to put a bridge here, or you might need to be a little more descriptive on your lyrics, or take out those cuss words, or, something like that. But he's really insightful, and it's just awesome that he would take time to talk to me. There's another band, they weren't as popular, and they were a band called Blackfish, and they were just a good old bar rock band, and a lot of people had probably never heard of them. They came out of Florida. But I was searching the net, trying to find anything on them, because I only had one album of theirs, and I wanted to know what happened to this band, where did they go, did they, what's going on with this band? And so I kind of found nothing online. So I was like, and this was when, was it MySpace was big?
Oh, yeah.
And and kind of before Facebook. And so I was just like, you know what? I could get sued for this, but I'm going to create a Blackfish fan page and upload all their songs because I like them this much. So I started uploading their songs and creating their page and stuff, and the bass player contacted me, and he said, hey, you're the only one that's done this. Thank you so much. And I was like, hey, man, is there anything you want me to do on the site? Any content you want me to put on, any new songs? And so he sent me their second CD.
Wow.
That never got released. It was recorded at Daryl Hall's studio. Mm-hmm. And it never got released because Nirvana hit and kind of blew them out of the water. Even though they were kind of more grunge than they were glam, I think they just kind of got wrapped up in that whole thing. But I got their CD, and he gave me a bunch of backstories that I published on the MySpace page, you know, about how they became the Blackfish. And the story about that band is really sad because the guitarist and drummer, you know, both died a few years after the band broke up. And the reason they did have copies of the second album was because of a benefit that they had for the drummer when he was fighting cancer. And they came together as a band again and did a show and used the money from the show to help pay for the drummer's treatment. And then the lead guitarist went on to play for Bret Michaels when he broke away from Poison, and he was just a monster too. But, you know, two of the guys in that band are, you know, passed away. But it was cool to get to meet the bass player of that band. The other guy is from the Big Gun Show. His name's Gunnar Woodson, and he's kind of in the Austin area, and, you know, they're just a good blues rock band. They kind of have a Rolling Stones kind of feel. And I started talking to him online. I found him on Reverb Nation. I was like, oh my gosh, I love your music. And I think you would like him. If you like the Refreshments, I think you would like him, Solana.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you would like him. And I actually went to a show, and he like said, hey, Brent. He actually knew my name. Or actually, he called me Uncle-Brent. You know, and he talked about writing songs, and he gives me feedback, kind of like Art Edward does of Refreshments. And it's just really sweet of these guys, you know, that are clearly more talented than I am, taking time out of their lives to help me and help me become a better musician. But those are kind of... I also met Michael Sweet of Stryper, but that was a real quick meeting. And it's more like, hi, how you doing? Okay, next, please.
I remember Stryper.
Yeah, I remember that. Him, man.
I actually liked some of their songs.
I had Yellow and Black Underwear, man. I was like...
They were supposed to be a Christian band, too.
They are. They are.
I like that band. But with, you said, you know, with the extreme guitarist, Betancourt,
yeah.
I knew, of course, everybody knew more than words, but that wasn't really a showcase of his abilities for that song. What I heard back when Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure came out, I was the perfect age, you know, I was probably in high school or something. I had the soundtrack on cassette tape, and I wore that thing out. Play With Me, and I heard that, and when it got to the bridge or whatever, and he started riffing on that, because he wrote it, I was like, holy crap, who is this playing the guitar? And it was him. I mean, that's more of a showcase of his abilities.
Yeah, he has another one called Flight of the... It's a takeoff of Flight of the Bumblebee.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty crazy, too. He's crazy. That dude, he's insane. I mean, he's went on to play with Rihanna and play with a bunch of other people. He's insane good. I mean, he makes me not ever want to play guitar again. That's how good he is.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
But yeah, I heard Porno Graffiti, which was their second album. The Play With Me was on their first album, but I do remember seeing Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and hearing the song and going, wow, that dude's good. But when I heard Porno Graffiti with Decadence Dance, I was like in. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, my sister said Flight of the Wounded Bumblebee.
Mm-hmm.
So that was his one. That if you like guitar riffs, that would be one you listen to too.
That's on the level of Eruption by Eddie Van Halen, I think.
It didn't have the same, because he came out when there were like 10 million riffers, you know, a bunch of guitar players that were awesome. I mean, it didn't have the same impact. Had he come out when Randy Rhoads and Steve Vai and Joe Satriani and when Eddie Van Halen came out, he would have been huge. But he came, you know, towards the
90s,
end.
wasn't it?
Yeah. Late 80s, early 90s. And
that's the day the music died, was probably January 1st, 1990 for me. The 90s were just awful. They were just awful for music. It was so bad I was pushed into techno, and I never came back.
So So you didn't like Alice in Chains. You didn't like Pearl Jam. You didn't like Blind Melon. You didn't like Guns N' Roses.
Well, I liked Guns N' Roses a little bit. I appreciate them more now. Their stuff from the 80s. And maybe some of that stuff you just named, like Blind Melon, No Rain. I appreciate it now, but back in the day, I was just like, I was starving for something because, I was still listening to the hair bands. And I was still
listening. She wasn't
listening.
much on the alternative music scene.
No grunge for me until like way later, way later.
Now, me on the flip side, I've always been electronic related, but I mean, I appreciated bands like Alice in Chains, bands from Seattle, the grunge scene. I'm trying to think of one band in particular. It just eludes me right now.
I'd move to house music.
Give it away.
Give it away. Oh yeah, you're talking about Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yes, how can I forget?
I did like some of their songs.
Yeah, so I mean, I dig the music because it was different, but yeah, like Sirlana says,
But as far as what was on the radio,
once we hit the '90s, basically the DJ unplugged the new wave scene, and it pretty much went underground and became rave, techno, electronica, hardcore,
which
stuff.
I embraced.
And now it's kind of cool to see this resurgence of EDM come back. And for those who do not know what EDM is, it's electronic,
Daft Punk.
Yeah, electronic music. So. Daft Punk, just some great artists out there for that.
Did you ever tell Brent about meeting the Pet Shop Boys?
No, I was going to say I got to meet my idols,
and it was brief, like your thing, but
it was brief, surreal, and
but very cool.
It was very cool.
And it was in Austin.
I got them to laugh.
Did they say, "What have I? What have I done to deserve this?"
Well, what happened was they asked me how I was doing, and I said I'm absolutely fabulous, which is one of their songs, and I wasn't even thinking of saying that in reference to that, but they kind of they laughed at it, and in what really kind of it's great that I got to meet them, but what stands out in my mind during that time, Brent, is that Sirlana just turns to Chris and she says, "Oh, hey, Chris." It's just another day hanging out with my husband, and here you are, Neil and Chris.
These are your idols, not
mine.
mine.
Know, but still, it's just...
I love them too, but I'm just
The fact is that...
Not invested.
I will say that Sirlana brought me back to earth and, made me humble in the sense of... these are just...
oh, hey, Chris. Hey,
these
Neil.
are just two guys that I've admired a big portion of my life, and what a concert that they put on! It was spectacular. We saw where they filmed Austin City Limits, and it's not a big place. It's kind of intimate, but they had the lasers going. They are great performers. I mean, they had everything that you would want. In listening and watching a musical group. So that was a fantastic night for me because I'd seen them many times in concert, but that was the first time that I got to meet them in person, and
I made you look cool.
What a thing that I will always treasure and remember when Sirlana goes to, "Oh, hey, Chris."
Hey, Neil. No big deal.
Yeah. Well, yours is a pretty good story. When I met Nuno, the first thing I said is, "Oh my God, I can die now and be happy." That's what I said. Those were the first words that came out of my mouth when you know Betancourt.
Oh,
what
boy.
a dork. And he was like, "Oh crap, I've got a head case here. Security!" I didn't call security, but I think I was just so floored that I actually got to meet him. But it's so awesome when you get to meet your idols and you find out they're not total bags,
That doesn't always work that way. Sometimes, there's that old saying, you should never meet your idols because you'll always be disappointed.
But then, I'm sure when you finally meet them, there's some dude or dudette that has said, what are your musical influences? And so they're not, you're getting the raw end of the stick here, being the second person after that person. And, but no, I agree with Sirlana. You should never meet your idols. I've met people that I've been enamored with and just thought they were just the cat's meow, and ultimately I was disappointed. So, I try to approach, people that have been out there, popular people that are well known. Sirlana has basically taught me, hey, these are just people, just like you. Just talk to them normal, and if they connect with you, great. If not, then
punch them in the face.
Yeah, punch them in the throat right now. A new film by Robert Rodriguez.
Space boy. I know you still squeal when you see someone you love.
Well, it was the Pet Shop Boys for me, so
He was a little dorky, but he was. I could tell he was so overwhelmed with happiness, and I had to balance it out. Like, just don't pay attention to him.
Oh, that's funny. I'll tell you another funny story. My wife and I, actually, it was pretty recently. I want to say in the fall, we had went out to eat at Threadgill's in downtown Austin. And Threadgill's is like a restaurant where, big people go to play. Like Janis Joplin used to play there. A bunch of big people have played there. Humongous people there. Stevie Ray Vaughan played there. So we were sitting there eating, and these two guys came in and walked in and sat down at a table like right next to us, like literally 3 feet away. And I looked at the guys, and then I looked over at my wife, and I was processing what had just happened, and I worded to my wife with my mouth and whispered really low, "That is Jimmy Vaughn." And she's like, "Who?" And I was like, "Jimmy Vaughn, Stevie Ray Vaughan's brother." She's like, "Oh, don't," and I go, "Don't look. Don't look." And she started looking at it. And then she couldn't stop looking at it. So it's just funny. I was like, "Don't look." But I ended up having to talk in a normal voice because she was like, "What? What? Who's he?" It was just funny. It doesn't sound that funny coming out right now. It sounds kind of stupid. But it was funny at that point in time.
Well, did you get to talk to him, or?
No, I wanted to, but he was there, and he was probably relaxing, and he was probably just wanting to get something to eat, and my wife stared at him enough to make up for both of us, so we just left.
See, I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, he'd be like, "Don't look." I'm like, "Okay, are we about to get hit by sniper fire? What is this?" If he tells me not to look at something, I'm not going to do it because I figure there's a situation about to happen.
Or you would go, "Hey, Jimmy, how are you doing today?"
Nah, that wouldn't happen. So if you're performing live, right, and you're performing in these places, has anything crazy ever happened while you're performing? Like, there's a fight, or you ever had a crazy experience while you're performing live?
Not really. Most of our fans are elderly, and we all wear Depends and navigate with walkers. So, the worst thing that will happen, maybe one of the tennis balls fall off our walkers, so we're pretty calm. We have a lot of interaction, though, which might be weird for other people, but I like actually talk to people in between songs, especially when the musicians' spouses or boyfriends or girlfriends come in, because then that's just fun. When you come to one of our shows, it's a little more laid back, and we want you to have a good time. The idea for a Nostone show is you come in, you have your whole work week, you've busted your ass, and you're just trying to survive, and you just want to get to the weekend so you can just relax. So when you come to one of our shows, you take that bag of rocks and you put it down at the front door, and you just come in and you have a good time. And, if you want to talk with us during the show, we can talk. If you want to sing along, I have sections where we sing along. We just try to have a good time. And just forget all the things that weigh on us for that moment in time and just be together and have a good time. Nostone is, about, just being together enjoying each other's time, and forgetting for a few minutes all the stress we have going on. And if that's probably the weirdest thing, because most musicians, you know, are serious rock stars, or they want there to be some type of special presentation or show, and we're not that way. You know, we just go up there, we play, we want to have interaction, we want people to have a good time, we want them to forget things that happen to them. So, you know, an example is, you know, next weekend we're playing Need Peace Festival on Saturday. It's in the Belton area, and it's a holistic retreat, and it helps out people, not only people in the area, but the military base in the area. They offer therapy for, you know, not only the soldiers, but the military families and things like that. So we're going to go out there and play for them in the middle of the woods, which is kind of weird, you know, but we're going to go out there and play for them and just have a good time.
That's cool.
You know, take care of our military brothers and sisters and have a good time, and, you know, take out, you know, there may be a family there that their dad or mom is, you know, the kid's dad or mom is away, and, you know, they're going to come and see Uncle Brent, and they'll become part of Uncle Brent's family. Dysfunctional family, but nevertheless, the family. And, you know, we just want to, you know, help them that weekend, be there for them that weekend. That's kind of what I'm going for with our band. We just want to take care of people, and we want y'all to come out.
Well, it sounds like...
That's all I got to say about that.
Sounds like it sounds like the band needs to come make an appearance in Houston, to me. Sounds like I'll need to perform.
I have been trying to get to Houston. It's tough, so if someone knows a venue that would be... we always juggle back and forth, you know, when we're asked to play other towns and stuff, because, you know, all of us have families, and, you know, some of us don't have working vehicles, and so we're worried about breaking down, you know, an hour and a half into a 3-hour trip and stuff like that. So I try to work it out so I can pay the guys, you know, so at least they can at least get back home. So, but if y'all know a venue that can help us out with that stuff, man, we would love to come and play, or, you know, I'll come to your house and just play an acoustic show for you.
You'll have to do it in the yard, though.
Well, I know the Space Cadets would love that.
Yeah, as long as Space Boy wears his alien head, I'll be there.
Oh, you like that alien head?
You know, I always like it when you can always tell people who, you know, in my lifetime, how old of a friend they are based on what they call me. And it cracks me up, you know, to hear different, I guess, names. Very seldom do I go by James.
No, you have to level up to get to call him James.
No, it has to be.
He's reached this point in his life.
Yeah, I you know, it's Jim, Jimmy. Most of it is Space Boy. I got a thing to keep up here, and you know, for all it's worth. And
I don't even call you by your name.
Well, I know. You said, "Hey, get over here," and so, you know, it is what it is. So, I guess on that note, let's take a break, because I'm trying to get our phones working here so we can take some calls, and we'd love to get some of Uncle Brent's followers to call in and ask questions, and of course our very own Space Cadets to ask questions. So, let's see, break time is 4. Yeah, so here comes the break. So don't go anywhere.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sirlana.
Greetings, Space Cadets. Let's see what's in the sky tonight in the Spaceboy Universe. Tonight, in the eastern sky, we have Space Boy Universe rising above the horizon in glorious splendor. And in the west, we can see Solanus Majoris, which is visible at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, just below the K28 belt. So keep your eyes on the sky and listen to Space Boy Universe.
You are listening to Space Boy Universe. Here are your hosts, Space Boy and Sir Ramos.
Okay, we're back. We're live, and this is the part of the show where we, as the IT guru, I am going to have to work some magic. So Uncle Brent is going to sign off on his phone right now. I'm going to call you just in a second. So go ahead and hang up.
All right, we're hung up.
Okay, 8, and okay. As I'm punching buttons, why don't you talk to the audience?
Oh, well, yeah. So we're trying to find a way to... What was going on is that for some reason, the new Skype is not letting me bring in more than one call at a time. If I try to pick up another call, it was going to throw our guest off his call. So we're working on 2 different computers. He's going to pick him up, and hopefully this will leave the 713 number open for call-ins. For the caller that has been wonderfully devoted to try to keep calling in. So if they call back, I'll pick up on them. So that's what's going on. So Uncle Brent is still with us. He's going to be picked up here in a minute. And we were just talking in the background about what Space Boy does and what I do. And okay, so we can't turn those sounds off because Skype won't let you turn the settings off.
That's ringing, so hopefully.
Empty Arms Hotel.
Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Well, how about that for time?
Shall I track?
Go ahead and pick that one up.
Hello, Spaceboy Universe. You're on the air.
Yay!
So sorry about that. Skype was not letting me pick up another call to add it. It was going to...
I just heard.
Yeah, so now we've got 2 computers to work with, so we're so glad we got you back.
We're going back old school. And and caller, who are you?
This is Jeannie Nip with Need Peace. We're going to be seeing Uncle Brent out here in the country on the 14th.
All right.
So, Brent, do you hear her?
I do not hear her at all.
Oh, okay, so we need to work on...
Well, she says she's looking forward to y'all coming out on the 14th and performing.
We're excited, too. We've got 2 new band members we're bringing. So we're bringing a keyboard player and we're bringing a bass player. So
you got to watch
really
them
excited.
Keyboard players, man.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Got to watch those keyboard players, Brent.
I know, they're kind of shifty, aren't they?
You got to vet them pretty hardcore.
Jenny, can you hear
what's his face
I
there?
can hear you two. I can't hear Brent though.
So Brent can't hear you, and you can't hear Brent. Well, it's amazing how far I've gotten this far. But let's see here. Why
don't you go ahead and tell us more about your venue, what it's for, and the significance of it?
And I'll work on the IT part right now.
And we'll just let Brent stew over there.
Okay. I'm a massage therapist. Been doing that for about 10 years now, and we're opening a holistic country retreat about 15 miles outside of Fort Hood, where I worked for about 4 years helping these guys with PTSD heal naturally and holistically, massage therapy, yoga classes, Tai Chi, things like that. And we're kind of trying to open that same sort of thing out here, but with overnight cabin stays for couples and coming back from deployments and things like that, just try to get the families back together and give them other options other than, the pills that they get so freely.
That's amazing. I don't think I've heard of a program like this before, but then I don't get out much, but that just sounds like a wonderful thing for our men and women.
Yeah, it worked really, really well. We had the program going for about 5 years on Fort Hood, and lots of great results from it. It was only 3 weeks at the max, and it just changed people instantly. It was amazing to watch. So very, very rewarding work.
You trying to see if they can hear each other now?
See.
Brent, are you still there?
I'm here.
I was wondering if you can hear each other yet.
I could hear some gurgling,
hear
but
Brent.
I thought it might be Jimmy's stomach.
No, it wasn't. He's pulling cables and plugs there, trying to see if we could get here. But that just sounds like an amazing venue. So you're going to bring out Nostone music, I guess, to entertain at this venue?
Yes, they were with us last year through all 15 fans that we had out there. It was actually our first event that we were having. Our place is country, so we really have to watch out for weather.
Oh, yeah.
And our driveway's pretty much mud, so coming up would have been just a blast out there. But luckily, we got another venue on the spur of the moment, and everybody in the bands were awesome to come out and play. They came out for 3 days. We had a festival for 3 days, and Uncle-Brent and the guys were one of the bands that came out and rocked it out for us. So we're having them back on the actual stage if the weather holds up.
Well, that's great. I'm now really excited that they're going to come out there and be a part of that. And even though I just met him for the first time virtually, whereas Space Boy they've known each other since high school. So I think it's just really great, and I wish we could be there and support you in some way. But so you have our massive respect and support for everything that you're doing for our men and women in the military.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's too rewarding not to do. I'm telling you, it was never had a bad day out there, especially with all the stuff these guys were going through. But had a really good time working on there, and just looking forward to expanding our business out here and getting it off the ground. And these concerts are going to help bring in some funding for us to be able to build what we need to build out here.
Do you have, are you on social media? Do you have any websites so people could help check this out, or maybe?
We're on Facebook. Right. We're on Facebook at Need-Peace in Belton.
So it's Need-Peace?
Right. KNEADPEACE.
Okay. I was going to try to look you up and get that word out there. I see Brent's trying to call back on this line, but it still's not letting me add a call. Yeah, unfortunately.
Gotta love technology.
Yeah, well, Skype changed. Something in Skype changed over the last, around January, and it just went to heck. And we don't know why. I found you on Facebook, so I will put that link out there.
Awesome, thank you.
And I'll get that on our social media. I think it's really cool. Do you find some people resistant to some of these holistic methods like yoga? Like, you get these military men, or are they pretty receptive?
Well, we've had both. It was hilarious watching these guys trying to do yoga poses and stuff, and a lot of them have been deployed numerous times and have had, back issues or neck issues and injuries for years and years, and they were kind of talking mess about the yoga classes at first, saying it was sissy stuff, and then getting into some of them poses.
Oh, it's difficult.
Really working them over. Oh, yeah.
You're not in shape.
They came out singing a different tune.
I've tried a few in the privacy of my own home where nobody will ever know about it, and I can't do it. It will kick your butt, some of those poses.
Yeah, the teacher we had was awesome. She'll start you at the very beginner level and even go lower than that if you need to, but they did respect the yoga after they started doing that, and massage therapy is just rewarding anyway. I did that most of the time because that's kind of an instant feel-good effect on the person. So a lot of these guys have, they're troopers or soldiers. They're on the ground. They don't get to take care of themselves. They have to take care of everybody else. So them just learning how to do that and being okay with doing that for themselves is just awesome to watch. And it definitely helps them and changes their attitude. And, if you're not in pain anymore after years and years of being in pain, that kind of changes your life. So it's good stuff.
Now, you say some of the families can come and stay while they're getting therapy?
Right. We've got, we're in the process of building some cabins, and we'll do little weekend stays at our family cabin when that's up and running, and then some R&R cabins for couples to come out and stay in, kind of secluded in the country here. We've got about 4 acres of property, and looking to build on those. About 3 or 4 cabins is what we have in the works. So it'll be a while. It's a work in progress, but every step counts. So,
are you funded by donations, or do you have a way to keep it going, or?
We do take donations. I also do massage therapy on the side. I've been doing this for over 10 years, so that kind of helps fund it. Working on some grants and things like that to get funded.
That's great. Well, this is a great cause, and we're really proud of Uncle Brent for being a part of it and his band. Anything to say?
Yeah, they were awesome last year.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Anything else you want to add, or you want to plug your social media for this cause, or?
Oh, we're just excited to see Uncle Brent come out again and support us. We're just, praying for the rain to hold up, and we'll have a good old time again. Come out on Saturday, April 14th at Need Peace. The address is 10465 FM 2410 in Belton. We're just outside of Harker Heights. And show's starting at 5 o'clock. It's going to start with local favorite Charles Ott, and then the Nostone's coming in from 7 to 9. Charles starts at 5.
Excellent, excellent. Wish we could be there to help support, but you got our support any way we can with getting the word out and social media. Just let us know.
Okay, thank you.
It was great talking to you.
You too.
Thank you, Jeannie.
And tell Uncle Brent we said hi, and we can't wait to see him next week.
Okay, we will. We'll get him right back. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye. All right, now if he wants to call back. So he says we've got another caller who wants to come in. So I'll just wait.
Well, hold on just a second here. Are you there, Uncle Brent?
I'm here. I'm listening. I'm going to tell him to call now.
Yeah, because you can only do one at a time over here.
Sure, and I guess we'll get these technicalities.
Okay, here we go.
I'm going to tell him to call now.
Wait a minute.
That's all right. Turn your radio down. Turn your radio down. You're listening to Space Boy Universe. Are you there?
I'm here.
Yes, and who is this?
This is Gunnar Whitson.
How are you, sir?
I'm excellent tonight. How are you?
Well, I'm feeling the love of Microsoft right now, and
they need to go Apple.
The thing is that my day job, I'm an IT guy, and so I love Microsoft for the simple fact of what's happening to us right now. I just wish it on somebody else so I can make money off of fixing their problems of their pain.
Well, he said that you call in. What you got to tell us tonight?
Oh, not much. I was just listening in. I'm over here trying to write a new song, and I just get a textbook message from Brent saying, "Hey, let's talk some music." And so I said, "Okay." Didn't call in, but now I am.
So you're in the middle of writing a song. What was your inspiration for it so far?
This one is about somebody that's treating me the wrong way that I don't think they should treat me.
Oh, it's a true story?
Well, you can call it that if you wanted to. Sometimes you just take a feeling and you expand on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like what we were talking earlier with Uncle Brent, and is how a time and place will affect the type of music that inspires us, and in that conversation, there have been times when we've been sad or angry or happy, and that usually translates into a song. I tell him that some of my best work has been when I've been in pain of some kind, and because it really helps us resonate what feels inside. It's a deep feeling. What about you on that subject matter?
Oh, absolutely. You got to take any kind of emotion and then creatively make it, hooky enough and rememberable enough to where people walk away from the song humming or singing at least a part of the song.
We were listening. We were somewhere today out having lunch, and there's the music that's on when you're sitting in a restaurant, and we were listening. This song came on, "Pumped Up Kicks." We were like, why did this band write this song with such an upbeat, catchy, but these lyrics are about a school shooting? We were trying to figure that one out. I'm like, is that so it will stick in your head, or are we even paying attention to the message? I just think that's an interesting dichotomy for a song. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, of course. If you want people to remember it, maybe it's going to be a little bit more upbeat than it should be, at least for the song. you know, I mean, I've written I'm right in the middle. I'm finishing up a song right now called "Take the L Out of Lover." Basically, if you do that, I mean, it's over.
That's clever. Wow. I like that.
That's pretty genius there.
Well, thank you. I'd like to say I'm genius, but I'm not.
Uncle Brent is claiming that he's your inspiration. Do you have a rebuttal?
Oh, he is. He is my one and only inspiration in life. This is the truth. Yeah, you know, other things, you know, I've got another one I'm working on right now. And, you know, it's just like I feel the title of the song should kind of scream what it's about, or at least make people think they know what it's about. So, you know, Take that L Out of Lover, people don't really get it until they hear the song. But, you know, I've got another one I'm working on right now called Take the Bottle. So basically it's about somebody not, like, okay, it's about a girl that's not so good for me, and all my friends say that she's bad for me, but they don't understand how what we do. And like one of the lines is, you know, they don't understand how your dress on the floor makes me feel. So she's kind of trashy. She's got tattoos and does a bunch of drugs and stuff like that. But the whole point of the song is that, you know, hey, listen, they don't understand us. They don't understand the feelings that I have for you. And you keep doing what you're doing. You take the bottle, I'll hold the wheel. So I'll drive the boat while you keep doing what you're doing. So kind of like being a pushover. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you work and you understand it, but people outside of the relationship don't see it. They just see what looks like toxic to them.
Yeah. They think they know everything. And of course, I'm blinded by the sex that I'm having with this woman. Trashy. Yeah.
Rich and interesting. Gosh, I've had a boring life.
Well, I wish I could say it didn't happen to me, but it might have.
Well, I mean, is it true, like they say with people who write novels, you write what you know?
Yeah, but it's also about creativity, right? You know, it's not just about, everything's not autobiographical.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, I'm trying to wrap my head around. I mean, I've married a musician. I mean, I think first and foremost, Spaceboy is a musician. Sure, he's got a job that pays. It has nothing to do with that. But I always thought I should write a book, or we should have a TV show called I Married a Musician. Because it's just constant, nonstop, never-ending, never a dull moment.
No, there never is. There never is, especially when I want to do my thing and she wants me to do her thing.
Right. So you've got people in your life who are like, can you just put the guitar or whatever down, or the lyric book down, so we can go do X, Y, Z?
This is a hobby, damn it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was telling Brent that I like when my husband goes to write music, because he's occupied. I know where he is. If I need him, he's not bothered. He's not up in my business, so I can do what I want to do. I love it. I was like, get in there and write, and then eventually I'm going to get a bunch of free music.
Or whenever you need him, you can go interrupt his creativity.
Actually, if he tells me he's going to do it, I will text him from the other room first to see if it's okay. I do respect his process, because when he has me do some graphic design for him or for Spaceboy Universe, I'll say, he'll give me the idea he wants. I say, great, now go away and don't get involved with anything I'm doing until I ask for your opinion. And when he does that, everything works pretty good.
Well, you're a good woman, sounds like.
I don't like it. Do you have people that you go to in your life and let's say you're composing a song, or you think you've got a song ready, and you'll ask maybe a significant other or family member or friend, what do you think of this? And I just cringe when he asks me his opinion, because I do have an opinion, but I'm like, do I say, that's great, dear, everything you do is wonderful, or do I actually tell him what I think he needs to hear? But every time I do it, it's like pulling teeth. But he eventually does want me to tell him the truth.
Well, of course he does. You know, and that's what I'm doing right now. Is I'm trying to massage the lyrics. You know, and I want to ask somebody. I know I can figure it out myself if I just spend enough time doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I just, out of all the people I trust, it's my wife I trust the most. And I tell her, don't sugarcoat it. Just hit me in the gut. Let's get it over with. I just want to hear what you have to say and, get an honest opinion because, as musicians, we hear a lot of, oh, that was just so great. That was so awesome. And things like that.
Oops, sorry
about that. And I don't want to hear that. I mean, well, I do want to hear that, but that's my ego talking. But the thing is that, when I'm trying to create something and if I feel like I'm onto something, I want somebody that knows me to validate, hey, that's good. Or, you could do better because, I know you're capable of
I feel like, what authority do I have? I'm not a musician. I can't even talk to you in the terms that I need to speak to you.
I just need you to just straight out tell me it needs more cowbell.
Yeah, that's basically.
That's, what it comes down to.
Yeah, no, it's typically what I need is a little bit of help, like, hey, idea-wise. So, for instance, if I say, if I'm in the middle of a song and I say, okay, I want to say this, but I just don't have the right word, or I don't have that. I use some software that helps me kind of navigate through that. But for the most part, I'm trying to get together with other people that are accomplished songwriters that can really add value, because I feel that that writing with other people is a lot more productive than just trying to do it all by myself.
Well, that perspective outside of your head is pretty good sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll have a stray thought. It sounds like it's a song title, and I'll write it down, and I'll just run in here. I'm like, hey, possible song titles, run with it. And 9 times out of 10, he will build a song around the song title, or he'll have a song and have me title it. I think that's fun. That's a part that I enjoy about his creative process.
Yeah. No doubt.
Uncle Brent asking us, who are you writing with, and does he want to write with Uncle Brent?
Well, I want to write with anybody that wants to write with me. And I've been trying to write with a guy. I wrote with a guy named Lucas Cook here in Austin and Teddy Long here in Austin. Trying to write with a guy, Brian Christopher, Barbara Nesbitt. As a matter of fact, here's a funny story. I just went down to Mexico for a quick little surf trip / songwriting escapade. And I get there and I walk into this hotel, this kind of resort. It's not a resort. It's like 10 cabanas. Anyway, I walk in, I start talking to this guy. We end up going out to dinner with he and his wife and this other couple. And he goes, man, this is a real long shot. Do you know Barbara Nesbitt? And I was like, I'm trying to get together with write with her. So it's a small world. He's from San Diego. I met him, and then he asked me that question. It's just kind of funny.
Well, that's a fascinating story, and we're kind of up to the bottom of the hour, so we appreciate you calling in and being a part of the universe tonight with Uncle Brent.
I appreciate it, too. Thanks for letting me talk.
Anytime, my friend. Call anytime.
That's great. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. So let's get this break for the final part of the hour. We'll bring Uncle Brent back on your side.
Sure.
And chit-chat with him, get all the social media plugs and anything else he wants to put on the icing on the cake, so to speak. So you're listening to Space Boy Universe. I'm Space Boy, and she's Sirlana. And we'll be right back after this.
You are listening to Space Boy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sirlana.
Get your game on Spaceboy Universe. Level up with Spaceboy Universe. No quarters, no problems. Play it at Spaceboy Universe.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
Oh, Sir Lana, how much I hate Skype. I mean, it is the evil. I mean, it's like the thing to do business as a broadcast. You know, I mean, it's. I guess let me put it really quick before we get back with Uncle Brent here. Is financially, there are better options. If you want to pay the money, you can get a great option. Mm-hmm. Skype is probably getting towards the bottom of the barrel of as far as options are concerned, and I struggle with the fact that it's an expenditure that I don't really want to make, but in order to take these calls,
most people can get Skype easy though.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. We'll chew Skype up and regurgitate it later. Anyway, it's a show for the Space Cadets, and we have Uncle Brent tonight, and we're talking about his music and everything about being a musician. And did you say you had a question?
Just one thing is, I've been to Austin once. I've known about PBS always has the Austin city limits for as long as I've been alive, I think. What is it about Austin as a town, as a place, that fosters music in such a way like other cities don't?
For me, I just think that as far as Austin goes, you have a lot of history as far as music now. So it's known as a place to come to for right now. But I think in Texas, it's probably the most liberal city. Mm-hmm. And anytime you have liberals, you have free thinking and a lot of creativity, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise, it causes a lot of creativity. And musicians are creative people, and so they flock to that. And I think that's why. It's a creative place. It fosters creativity, especially back in the older days when South by Southwest was less corporate.
Right.
And the Chronicle is like a magazine that pushes out musicians and stuff like that. And when it was less corporate, it allows for a lot of different thinking and free thinking, and you can say things here that you couldn't say in Bandera, Texas.
Oh, really?
Where Jimmy and I, Mr. Spaceboy and I, grew up a portion of our time. And I think that's what it is about Austin. And that's not saying that there aren't other creative places, because, in Bandera, where Spaceboy and I are from, there are a lot of musicians that come out of that area. A lot. I was shocked at the number of musicians that come out of that area.
In fact, some of my fondest memories of my grandmother would go down to the Archie Blues, and a lot of musicians would, at that time would come in there and play, and but yeah, it's definitely, there's a rich sense of musicians flying through Bandera and playing that town, and so in that angle, it is pretty rich with musical talent.
Yeah, have you ever gotten to play Archie Blues?
No, but I've had a few drinks there, and it felt good.
It's cool, man. I got to play an open mic down there, mm-hmm. And it's funny because it's just two old guys, and they just know every country song ever written. So I would go, well, what about this? And we'd be something kind of country. Mm-hmm. And I kept trying to screw them up the whole night, but they hung with me pretty well. But it's just fun.
No, I have played down at the Wharton Dock. There was a bar down there, and mm-hmm. Played some old piano tunes, Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, and some of the classics. And so it's not like I haven't performed live, but yeah, it would have been interesting to play Archie Blues.
He performs live at Guitar Center sometimes.
Oh, that's different. Yeah, don't get me started on that.
They don't necessarily ask him to do that.
Do you just start grabbing keyboards like Beethoven did and Bill and Ted?
Well, I start plucking on something, and one thing leads, oh, well, here, let me try this. And it's what it is I start getting creative at Guitar Center, of all places. And because I'm dealing with the newest high tech stuff that's just come out, and then the worst thing is when you've got little Timmy over there that must be 6 years old that's banging on a piano that really frustrates me, and I'm there.
It's not a freaking playground in there.
Well, I guess it's a matter of perspective now, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So and I go to town, and when I guess get my fingers in touch with that kind of equipment, it really is a level that I don't usually get at home, because my equipment is much different. It's not the latest and greatest, but it does what I need to do, and that's fine with me. But when I'm at Guitar Center, I feel like a rock star.
Ah.
Yeah, I love Guitar Center. I call that the greatest place in the world. What's funny is as I tell the kids, we're going to the most magical place in the world, and they'd go like, "Not Guitar Center again."
And then also in response to Sarah, yes, "Stairway to Heaven" must be played just to torture everyone.
I don't play that song.
Now he has his go-to Guitar Center song, and it's
what's that?
Axel F.
Oh yeah, the classics never die.
That's awesome.
You know, I got the thump
Axel
going
Foley,
on, and
yeah.
and I think it's better than Crazy Frog. Zoom zoom.
Almost anything's better than Crazy Frog.
So, but yeah, I always enjoy doing that. I might rip into some Pet Shop Boys music, and because that music is just perfect for synth. And but I like playing Axel F because it actually goes back to before high school, or actually early high school. I'd go into Target of all places, and that's when they had all the new Casio keyboards out there. And I'd go up to a Casio keyboard and start playing Axel F because I had one at home, so I could play it there as well. So fun stuff. And but yeah, Guitar Center is like an oasis in the desert, and the water is so delicious, and just to play some of these synths, is just awesome.
And there's plenty of places to sit while I'm waiting on him to finish whatever that is he's doing.
Man, the best work job I had in my whole career, and I've had a lot of jobs, but we won't get into that part as to why I've had a lot of jobs. But I had one where I worked at a guitar shop in college, and it's called Mazak Music.
Yeah.
And it was so wonderful to work there, to be surrounded by guitars, and you could be talking to someone, and someone would go, "Hey, have you played this guitar?" And you go, "Well, I have." And so it was all about music. It was just the greatest job I've ever actually gotten paid for.
It's I guess to work with like-minded individuals. Now, I did work at a Guitar Center as a part-time job, and I was actually security of all things, and not actually selling the equipment, but it was fun to interact with all the musicians there, because it was like, here was this another situation where people didn't know I could play, or actually had any kind of musical talent. And then during a break or two, I would go back in the synth department, and I'd play. And then what was really cool was the guys would give me all this software, and when I say software, I'm talking about the early days of Fruity Loops and Acid, and these are before like Sony bought them out and then regurgitated, and now they're owned by somebody else. But the way early days of when all this stuff was actually happening. So yes, it was nice to interact with people that were like-minded, and you could share ideas and concept and see their styles. And so I can only imagine from your angle.
But when we go into the Guitar Center now, it's just nothing but kids and teenagers. I don't see people your age in there.
Well, babe, I'm old as dirt now, and times change. But
you always say we're there before noon when all musicians are still asleep.
Well, that is true. Most musicians don't get up until a certain time, and which is not the case with me.
You, Grandpa, are up at 8 a.m. on a Saturday.
That's because I've just been working too hard on the day job thing, and I'm just programmed to, clock in, clock out at certain times. So, but I still make the attempt to make music, and that's all that matters.
That is awesome. I love that you stuck with it, and you're going to put something out soon. I'm also excited about that.
Yeah, hopefully by next week, the new album, The End of the Beginning, is going to drop next week.
The album cover's already out.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of uploading that, and like I said before, I'm talking about a new album that I'm releasing, and it's free to download, share it. I only ask that if commercially you want to use it for a project, that you talk to me and we work out some kind of thing mutual.
Yeah, but the implication I'm getting from that statement is you should get down on your knees and be grateful.
Well, see, I like how you like to twist my words, and that's not the case. I think that we live in a time, and this is why I'm doing this, because we're living in a time where I guess millennials are just so used to getting things free. If they have to pay for it, it's almost back when we were doing Napster and stuff like. Oh, man, why do I need to pay for $8 for this album when I can just hop on Napster and download it?
But weren't CDs ridiculously priced when they first came out? Like, I'm not paying 14 to 20 some odd bucks. For
I think
a CD.
to some degree. I think with me,
even when they're brand new.
My problem was that one. It was hard to find the music I wanted to hear
on a CD,
and Napster opened up that possibility of hearing music like, great, this is import. I would have never saw this or found this, especially living in Bandera or on the outskirts of San Antonio. So it was music I was hungry for that I couldn't get because I was into a lot of European music and and of course that time of our lives, Brent, the plug had been pulled on new wave, and so it was hard to find good European artists that were still making music in England and Germany and but it was just that wasn't the thing over here because they wanted to push the grunge agenda, and I'm not bad mouthing that. It's just
it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody, but I still. Solano knows that I love guitar music. I have a guitar. My father taught me how to play guitar. I love the electronic scene, and it just made it hard to find that music. So
you have a healthy appetite for music,
in general,
genres. Yeah.
I mean,
unlike me.
Yeah, I mean. Every piece of music. I love country music because of living in Bandera. My grandmother had that old West Texas style that she liked to listen to. So I'm grounded in that. I grew up playing orchestral music. It goes back to the 70s when you had a lot of orchestral-related music incorporated into the disco scene. Of course, electronic through synth pop during the 80s. Rock, the classic rock in the 70s, and I can go on and on about the different styles because each one, it's like a buffet, if you will, when it comes to music. You have your different styles, and just like when we write music to express our feelings, there's music out there to listen to reinforce our feelings. We connect to music because of that, and so you just can't. I don't want to feel strapped to one piece of music and say, okay, I will only listen to hip hop and that's it, because that's the end all. No, it's not. There's all these different flavors that I like to dive into, and they inspire me in different ways and help me to elevate my mind to higher places. And I can't do that if I'm focused on one thing. It has to be everything.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, I don't know if you do this, but when I write, I have songs that I write. Well, I don't write them for anything, but I have songs that are more Uncle-Brent and Nostone songs, and then I have songs that are like bluegrass songs, or when I co-write with other people, it's heavier, it's metal. It could be metal, or it could be some type of like the Black Veil Brides, where they have that metal synth. They bring in the metal synth stuff or something like that, or metalcore or something like that. I can never play that with Nostone, but I could write it. So yeah, it all makes sense. I've brought in rappers into some of my other songs, or dropped beats into my other songs to make them better. And if you're creative, you're not just going to be stuck to one thing. You're going to have your sweet spot, of course, which is, what you do best. But you're going to pull from all these other areas, and you're going to also reach out to those other areas to get inspiration. So I totally know what you're saying.
Yes, and that kind of goes into, I have a lot of music that I have not released over the years. And my process is usually a year now, where I'll create a Space Boy album. But in that, there are songs, just like you're saying, that do not fit the Space Boy mold and don't get to an album. And it always reminds me of what I heard about the musician Prince, is that he had tons of stuff that he would write but never put out there because he felt like, this just doesn't fit the moment. And, and it's very much in the same process of what I do, is that, there are things I've written like 5-6 years ago that I revisit, and I'm like thinking, hey, I like that, and I have some equipment that can make that sound now, and it is now ready to be put out there. Or it could be music that'll sit there forever and ever and will not come out, and it's just meant for my pleasure. And it's mine. It's my personal thing, So it's great to hear that you do prescribe to the buffet of music, and you do have your different tastes that you go to depending on your mood or just a feel that hey, this is what I want, and that's great to hear.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing your next album, and we're going to be releasing a single actually it's going to probably be a double, and you've actually heard one of the songs. It's going to be the B-side of it, but you've actually gotten to hear the two different sides, or at least a different side of what we've done. Mm-hmm. Kind of what we're talking about, and I appreciate you giving me feedback on that too, because I don't reach out to everyone to get feedback. Like when we were talking about how family and friends go, yeah, it's great, and that's all they say because they don't know what to say, and then I talk to someone like you, or I talk to, Gunnar, who was on earlier, he's like, you need to include more detail, or you need to do something like this, and, or you were telling me there's something specifically wrong with, not wrong, but there are things that could be done better with the vocals, and I think it's important to get that feedback, too.
And the important thing is honest feedback. I think that the feedback I gave you was not meant to be harsh in any way. It was to be constructive, and I hope that you found it that way. And because I really liked what I heard, and I think that I'm looking forward to the finished product of what you come out of that, and because it sounds like it's a great song.
With the honest feedback, you just don't want to discourage that person. You want them to take it and work on it and make it whatever it's supposed to be.
Right. Well, Brent, we're getting close to the end of the program, and this is the part where I like to make sure that our guest puts out their social media. And I mean, you are a social media hound dog. You work it like it's hot. So go ahead and tell our audience where they can find you. Social media and upcoming events and all that good stuff. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. My name is Uncle-Brent, and my band's called the Nostone. And you can find us. Our website is nostonemusicband.com. That's nostonemusicband.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and you can also find us on Reverb Nation. On our website, we have our events. Next weekend, we have the Need Peace concert series that we're going to be playing, which is basically going to benefit to help our military and their families. If y'all have time, go to our website, nostonemusicband.com. You can go to the shows page and you can get the details. Tickets are $5. We'd be happy to see you. We may even talk to you from the crowd. or you could talk to us from the crowd. We're going to be releasing a single this summer, or actually I keep on calling it a single, but it's actually a double. So it's going to be, the song is going to be Salt and Lime, and that'll be the single, and then the backup to it is going to be called Sarah's Creek, and it'll give you two different versions of the band. Throughout the whole thing, I haven't mentioned the guys that helped me make the music, so I just want to thank them and talk a little bit about them before we get into it. My drummer, his name is Emilio Ramos. He's been with me since about 2007. We have Jimmy Durham. He's the guitarist. He helps me with the arrangements and helps me record and drives me crazy as far as doing vocals, and because I'm always off pitch. Apparently, I don't know how to be on pitch, but he really hammers me on that. Then we have our new guy, and his name is Tom, and he's doing keys, and he's going to come in and help us change our arrangements, maybe embellish them a little more, make them prettier. And hopefully someday we'll have Space Boy come in and maybe sit in with us and play some stuff. But for everyone that's still on, I just really want to thank you for listening to Space Boy and Sirlana and interacting with us. If you would like, if you're interested in my music, I'm going to give you a free download. So all you have to do is grab your phone, text uncle to 444-999, and it'll ask you, where do you want this sent? You tell me where you want it sent, and I will give you 4 free downloads. And 2 of them are covers, and 2 of them are from our first EP, and it's called Bobbing for Crackle. So it was released in 2015. But thank you so much for your time. I hope y'all have a great evening. Looking forward to seeing you at a show, or send me an email, contact me on social media. I'll be happy to answer any questions or interact with you. I appreciate y'all's time. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Before we go on, that's the wrong button.
Premature.
This is Patrick Scott Spohr with the Dream Cognition Experiment, located at patrick-scott.blogspot.com. Please visit, and you will see that all my dreams really do come true.
And our dreams will come true, because next week's exciting guest is Patrick Spohr. Yes, he's coming back, and it's going to be for a good evening. And, man, I can't wait to get him on, because we're going to shift the universe, so to speak. You know, Patrick usually comes on. We'll probably chat a little bit about the dreams, but we're going to get in more of the pop culture things.
More into our 6 topics.
Yeah, more into the 6 topics.
Because he's into them as well.
Yeah, so, we're excited. Patrick Spohr will return. And so, look forward to him next week. So, I guess anything else we need to wrap up real quick, Sirlana?
So that's next week. Okay.
Yeah,
so there'll be some history topics coming up, and we'll surf through our other topics coming up. And don't forget, Comic Palooza is coming up end of May. We'll keep you updated on that.
Okay. On that magical note, say goodnight, Sirlana.
No.
Spaceboy Universe is hosted by Spaceboy and Sirlana. Executive producer is Sirlana. Social media producer is Dennis Koch. Associate producer is Lee Ann Cordes. Music production is Spaceboy of SpaceboyMusic.com. Special thanks goes out to Lee Ann K28, Solars Blue Raven, Patrick Spohr, Dino, Bob and Beverly M. This has been a Spaceboy Universe production. Support the universe by exploring Spaceboy Universe with Spaceboy and Sirlana. Sweet dreams, Space Cadets. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sirlana.